Good morning. Welcome back to Nurses Speak. This is Tonya again, and I'm here with another short message, but it is filled with love. And I just want to share with you as the year begins, according to one calendar, and it is coming to a close based on other calendars. So, depending on which type of calendar you follow, we know that we are in a state of dormancy right now, looking at the season. And it's typically known as the period of the winter solstice. And, you know, I've heard it referred to as the soul stillness, a time where we come into stillness within ourselves, similar to what nature is doing right now, in dormancy, in rest, in preparation for spring, in hibernation. And so, because I haven't put up a video in a while, you may be thinking, oh, you've been in hibernation. Well, to some degree, yes. But, I've had a lot of underground activity going on, so I'm not totally um, off off the off the chart or off the grid, at least not yet. But what I will say is that we need to really allow ourselves a period of stillness. And however that looks for you, because stillness may look different for everyone. Stillness may be taking time off from work. Stillness may be fortifying a practice of meditation, of yoga, of intentional rest, right? Allowing our mind, our body to be relaxed and to let go of things that we might have been carrying throughout the year. Because as we know, when we transition into fall, yes, it's harvest time, but it's also the beginning of releasing and letting go so that we can rest. Because think about it. How can you rest holding on to things? How can you rest in discomfort and being overburdened? It makes it challenging. And for some, it's almost seems to be impossible to be able to rest. And so I just want to encourage each one today to take time out to do your rest and be intentional about it. Be restful, okay? And in order to be restful, we oftentimes may want to consider resting of our mental activity in addition to our physical activity. So, and when I say resting from mental activity, because it's important to know that there's a difference. It's quite often we lie down and try to go to sleep, but you can't because there's so much on the mind. There's so much going on up here that although the body may be in a supine or prone position or something that gives the appearance of rest, you're not really resting because your mind is still racing. Your thoughts are all over the place. Or perhaps your thought may be focused on something that's of concern to you or to loved ones that you may be worried about, or even on work. Heaven forbid. You don't want to lose sleep over work, right? So, yeah, the mind rest, the mind chatter. What I do meditation because it helps me a lot. Even just to observe the thoughts that are floating through my mind. It's like, oh, where did that come from? But that's not mine. You know, you can observe the thought, but you don't have to engage with the thought. You don't have to latch on to it and allow it to draw you into a distraction, because that's what thoughts do. They draw you, they draw your attention onto something that may not necessarily be intentional. And so it allows us to deviate from that place of rest. And so sometimes we have to gently bring ourselves back to know that, okay, this is not the time for that right now. This thought does not belong to me. There's no need for me to be worried about in this present moment. Right here, right now, I am safe and secure. And allow that to be a prevailing thought. To be intentional about your rest, about nurturing yourself. So when we, I guess, look at ourselves as nurses and consider that it is a role where the majority of what we do is service and care and nurturing towards others, right? Even if we're not even talking about a nurse-patient relationship, we may just be talking about our relationships with our family and friends. Nurses tend to be nurturers. But at this time, I want to remind you all to nurture yourself, right? Because the true measure of our nursing capacity really should start with how and to what degree do we nurture ourselves. I'm pretty sure you've heard that saying, you can't pour out of an empty cup. Well, if we're empty, if we're not giving to ourselves, if we're not compassionate and loving toward ourselves, nurturing and understanding of ourselves and our own challenges and our own limitations, how can we really effectively and authentically be that for others? There has to be balance. As within, so without. It starts within. So again, take a moment to pause and look at, observe, assess. How are you nurturing yourself? How are you nursing to your own needs? Let's begin the year off right. Or as I said earlier, depending on the calendar you follow, let's end the year off right by putting ourselves first, by nurturing ourselves, loving ourselves, taking good care of ourselves, and allowing the restlessness to transmute into a peaceful state of rest. And I think I'll be sharing a little bit more about the benefits of rest, not just on the mind, but overall, because it's very, very important, especially when we're looking at the potential for burnout. Many of us still work in places that are understaffed with high populations to serve. And everyone deserves our very best that we can give. And at the same time, we deserve the very best. So please, I've been saying this for a long time now. You matter. You are important. You are special. You are loved. You are needed so much right here, right now, right where you are. There is no position and no capacity and no environment where you are not needed. Just remember that, whether it be at the bedside or in the boardroom, in the clinic or in a cottage somewhere, in a rural area, it doesn't matter. It's where you choose to be, where you can shine your light and bring yourself, your wonderful, beautiful, awesome self, into a space where you are appreciated, where everything you do means something. It matters. So if you're in a space right now and you feel like, hey, no one seems to care whether I show up or not, except that it's just for the numbers, for one more person to be in the space and in a place, yet and still you might be overlooked, you might be overburdened, you might be ignored, you might even be in a situation where your health and well-being is at risk. It's time for us to reposition ourselves. It's time for us to get clear, get focused, and when necessary, get moving. Moving to a place and a space where you are appreciated, where you are valued, where you can receive the acknowledgement that you deserve. Not that we're chasing it or demanding it, because the one thing you can't do is demand appreciation, because that's just false. Let's face it. Appreciation should be authentic. It should be heartfelt, and it should be genuine, coming from a place of deep appreciation and love. You know, many of us as nurses have very strong intuition. We have very strong connection with our gut. And when your intuition and your gut is speaking to you, it's time to listen. It's time to make the necessary changes. It's time to look at making those difficult decisions in the name of rest, in the name of peace, in the name of giving yourself and allowing yourself to have the life that you deserve. So I just want to thank you again for being part of this community. Each and every one of you means so much. You have no idea. You're precious. And thank you. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I won't make any promises to how often I'm going to post, because I've done that before. And to be quite honest, I haven't maintained a regularity that I would like to. But I'm moving with inspiration. I'm going with the flow. And so today, I was inspired to share this message with you. And who knows, maybe there'll be another message tomorrow, and perhaps not until next week or next month. But just know that I'm here. My videos are still there. You can review and replay any of them that you like. But rest assured, there will be more to come. That I can assure you, because I'm not going anywhere. Peace and blessings to you all. Bye now.